Nobody puts Do You Remember in a corner. If there's one thing we can say for sure, it's that love is strange and comes when you least expect it.
You've had many women.
What?
And this 1987 timeless classic, Dirty Dancing, took us all on a 3-week getaway we'll never forget. With a vibrantly young, star-studded cast bursting with chemistry, this film holds your attention and dips you when you least expect it. The dances, the young love, the music. What's not to like? I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and let's head back to Kellerman's Resort to find out what the cast of Dirty Dancing got into after that magical summer wrapped up. If you enjoy going back in time with us, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss a beat. Without further ado, let's dance. Patrick Swayze. On top of incredible choreography, Dirty Dancing managed to throw in some commentary about classism. Look no further than Johnny Castle, a great guy and teacher, treated by his employers and some guests like he was nothing, so much so that he actually began to believe it himself. You really feel for this guy, and it was a breath of fresh air when Baby helped him realize his worth.
Nobody has ever done anything like that for me before.
And Swayze did it all. In fact, for the film, he composed and sang the tune She's Like the Wind.
She's like the wind.
A true triple threat. It came natural to Swayze, whose own mother had been a dance choreographer. Growing up, Patrick really leaned into artistic sports like ballet and figure skating. So if that mountain lake ever froze over, we could have had Dirty Dancing on ice. And we'll get to the state of that lake later. It's Swayze's time. Patrick's career began on Broadway as a replacement cast for Danny Zuko in Grease. I mean, no one can beat Travolta, but if anyone could, it's him. In 1979, he booked his first film role in the Scott Baio-led roller disco comedy Skate Town, USA. And then he broke out from the outliers by being an outsider in the young, heartthrob-heavy 1983 drama. 1990 was a heck of a year for Patrick, along with hosting SNL and being the second best Chippendales dancer on the stage, thanks to those Farley moves. He also played the titular Spectre in 1990's Ghost. A lot of people took up pottery for a hobby after that one. And from 1989's tight-jeaned bad boy in Roadhouse to 1991's tubular bank robber in Point Break.
Ready or not, here comes Mama.
Not many stars can compare to the performances that Swayze accumulated. Sadly, while filming the series The Beast in 2009, Swayze started feeling ill. But even with the pancreatic cancer diagnosis, he kept charging ahead. But between chemo and pneumonia, Patrick Swayze passed away surrounded by his family in 2009. He was just 57, an incredible talent gone way too soon. CYNTHIA RHODES. Penny, the female dance instructor, drove one of the more emotional storylines, which got very dark with a botched abortion. It's lucky that she had Baby in her corner. Oh wait.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
And that Baby's pop was a doctor that could save the day. CYNTHIA RHODES brought her own dancing experience to her roles. Whether she was strutting her stuff as Tina Tech in 1983's Flashdance, or as a star in the Saturday Night Fever sequel Staying Alive, that role put her opposite John Travolta in the Sylvester Stallone-directed dance flop. She shelved her dancing shoes briefly for Michael Crichton's Runaway, alongside Tom Selleck and Kiss's Gene Simmons. But she laced up once again for Dirty Dancing before her final film role, which followed in 1991, co-starring with Jameson Parker in Curse of the Crystal Eye. Rhodes met singer-songwriter Richard Marx in 1983 when Marx was working on the Staying Alive soundtrack. Rhodes is 7 years his senior, so it took some time for her to come around to the courtship, but the pair were married in 1987 until they split in 2014. The two have 3 children together, and today CYNTHIA is 64 years old, living in Chicago, and enjoying life just being mom. Jerry Orbach. Baby had big dreams and an open heart, and Dad wanted everything nice and neat and simple for his daughter. He tried to teach good values but didn't always practice them himself. failing to see past Johnny's perceived lower class standards. It's kind of ironic how much Baby's dad fought against her dancing with Johnny, as Jerry Orbach got his grand start through Broadway musicals like The Fantastics and Chicago. He began making a name for himself in films in the 80s, like his Detective Gus Levy in 1981's Prince of the City, as well as his Dr. Houseman. But his greatest film role ever would simply require his beautiful voice, as he brilliantly gave life to a candelabra named Lumiere in Disney's wonderful Beauty and the Beast.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
He even stood out in shows like The Golden Girls, which actually netted him an Emmy nomination.
I missed you, Dorothy.
Good water.
As well as joining Murder, She Wrote for 6 episodes. But most people know Orbach as Detective Lenny Briscoe from the original Law and Order. Briscoe was someone who'd seen way too much as a homicide detective and used humor to cope.
She comes in for a biopsy and they manage to kill her.
And that's why they call it managed care.
Jerry would even bring his son Chris on for 3 episodes, and these are their stories. Unbeknownst to everyone, that whole time working the streets of New York, Jerry had been diagnosed with cancer. He'd show no sign of slowing down for 10 years, before he passed in 2004 at the age of 69. A real powerhouse, rest in peace. Jane Brucker, Baby's older sister, is all into Robbie, the womanizer server who knocked up Penny. Sadly, Lisa Houseman can't see Robbie's true character.
I've decided tonight's the night with Robbie.
And Lisa gets into the singing and dancing too. Jane Brucker started off with the First Amendment improv troupe in New York, and one of her classmates was none other than Bruce Willis.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Dirty Dancing was certainly her biggest credit, and she left a mark on it too. For Lisa's talent show number, producers wanted to use something from South Pacific, but couldn't nab the rights. So they asked Jane to write something, and she did, right there on the fly, totally improvised. Thank you, Bruce. Although she didn't receive credit for the tune until 2002. Brucker was married to actor Brian O'Connor from 1983 to 1993, and the couple has 1 daughter together. She has been married to photographer Raul Vega since 2001, and they also have 1 daughter. Brucker has a few small credits in the 2000s, so it's not safe to say she has retired. She's just living a quiet life for now with her family. Jack Weston. Max Kellerman was the kind of boss you'd dread having, who loved to talk down to people and kept his joint as elitist as possible.
Wait, don't put those tables together. Come on.
Look closely and you'll see Kellerman put a sign that reads, "Staff quarters, no guests please," on a dumpster. That sums it up. Jack Weston brought this abrasive boss to life with some top quality acting experience. He could do it all. Comedic roles like Please Don't Eat the Daisies and the amazing, no, incredible Mr. Limpet. As well as sleazy like the schemer in Wait Until Dark, alongside Alan Arkin and of course Audrey Hepburn. Across 35 years, he's been in a lot, from 1968's The Thomas Crown Affair to his final role in 1988's Short Circuit 2. Jack died from lymphoma in 1996 at the age of 71. Jennifer Grey.
Come here, lover boy.
Frances Baby Houseman is the now infamous Baby in that sad, sad corner. Baby was so relatable in this flick, naive and a bit of a daddy's girl, hence the nickname. But we grew with her as she learned to dance up a storm and found love along the way. She and Swayze already had history, co-starring in 1984's Red Dawn, and Grey enjoyed one heck of a decade in the 80s, also landing another cult classic as Ferris Bueller's tough-as-nails sister, trying to get him caught on his famous day off.
I can't believe this. If I was bleeding out my eyes, you guys would make me go to school. This is so unfair.
She and Broderick quietly began dating during this film, and while on vacation in Northern Ireland, tragedy struck. Broderick swerved into oncoming traffic and hit a car head-on. Terribly, 2 people were killed in the accident, and Matthew was convicted with careless driving. Dirty Dancing was released just a few weeks after the accident. Many rave about the chemistry that the leading couple shared on screen, but when the camera stopped, things were pretty tense. Apparently, Jennifer would cry between takes if anyone critiqued her. And if she wasn't crying, she was laughing during scenes, which of course meant they had to start over. Some of Baby's insecurities definitely came from a personal place, like missing that lift. But character and actress nailed it in the end. Good thing that lift only took 1 shot. Afterwards, Jennifer almost fell into obscurity, thanks to a nose job that needed a second surgery to correct. This resulted in a new face, apparently, as industry professionals decided that she now was unrecognizable with Baby. Jennifer quietly disappeared, but just like Baby, she got her footing once again, starring as Judy Myers on the show Red Oaks for 3 years until 2017. And this one's no surprise. You could catch her on season 11 of Dancing with the Stars. As she has her ups and downs, she ultimately comes out victorious. Jennifer Grey married Marvel actor Clark Gregg in 2001, and the two have a daughter together. But unfortunately, things didn't work out, and they filed for divorce in 2021. Today, Grey is 61 years old and is currently in development with a new Dirty Dancing project. How exciting! I don't know about you, but I've had the time of my life. So what happened with the lake, you ask? Well, it was filmed partly in Lake Lure, North Carolina, and partly Mountain Lake, Virginia. Mountain Lake actually dried up in 2008 and was nothing more than a pond until refilling happened in 2020. I'm happy to say that I actually vacationed there in the 90s, and it was beautiful and super cool to see some locations from the film, including the main lodge. So let's discuss this great flick. What's your favorite scene or dance number from this movie? Has anyone else ever visited Lake Lure or Mountain Lake? Sound off in the comments below, because we read every one. And if you enjoyed our clean, dirty rewind, remember to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss out on a dance. As always, from all of us here at Do You Remember, thanks very much for watching.